Good morning. So today we're going to get started on learning to draw a little bit of a three-quarter view, which, if you remember before, the straight-on view is more of looking straight at somebody, like such. And let's see, then we went a little bit with what a profile was, where you're looking at the side of somebody, like such. And today we're going to do what's called more of a three-quarter view, okay, where you see the front and also the side view of a person. A little bit, so you see the straight on, but this picture is not symmetrical. You don't see both ears. The head's tipped just a little bit. And really what qualifies a three-quarters anytime that it is not symmetrical to a certain degree. It's no longer straight down the middle. Everything's the same as the left and the right. Okay, so let's get started. Let me clear this out quick. So one of the things I want you to get accustomed to and get used to, doing portraits is a lot of fun, and doing a serious one is fun, but one of the enjoyments of life, for me especially, is just doing some sketching, viewing things, looking at things, drawing pictures, looking at a video even, and drawing from a video. And so when we've been doing our other ones, we draw an eye, and then we measure it so that we know how far the other one is away. Well, sketching is a little bit more free, a little bit less demanding, and a little more fun, I think. And so we're going to do this picture of Cary Grant, I think is who this is, and we're just going to do it as a little bit more of a sketching thing. So really what we do is start a circle, which kind of indicates this shape in here, and then I'll do another joining circle, which kind of represents the roundness, the back roundness of the face, of the head. Okay, so this is just kind of a really loose sketching approach. And then, like on the other portraits, with straight on, eyes fall right in the middle for the most part. So we'll find the middle, and we're just sketching. I'm not measuring it, but trying to keep these two dimensions fairly similar. And then, as we remember, the nose falls between these two dimensions for the most part. And then the mouth falls not quite in the middle between here and here, maybe just a little bit above that. So we'll just indicate it right there. So even though this is just a little bit of a sketch, now we're going to we're just going to kind of fill in the pieces. So also the last thing we got to do is where does the middle of the face land when you're looking away? Where does that land? So you kind of put in an indication here where the middle of that face is. And so this is just my sketching, and if you see that I'm doing this at a 50%, I'm doing this as a light sketch right now, just kind of putting these things in. And so then you start, all you do is start putting in the eyes a little bit, and observe where they land. Nose comes in here, mouth, and down here is a little bit more, is the chin, edges, the eyebrows, okay. We're just kind of observing this. And once again, we're going to observe where does the ear fall on this. Look, if we drew lines across, let's take a quick peek. So now you can see that we've got the eyes located kind of where the nose is. Once again, we're going to look and see where the eye, if you draw a line straight across, where does the ears land? So we draw it across here. That's where the ear lands, right about in here. And the top of the ear is way up here. Okay, so somewhere up in this range, I'm guessing, right about in here. So, and then also the jaw is going to come down and connect down here. So we're just kind of sketching it in a little bit. Obviously, the hair is going to come in up here. We're not going to do the hand for right now. That create a little bit more of a jumping a little ahead of something we haven't even practiced yet. And so then we want to put in the hair, the parts back here. We'll come back over here. Where's the front of that ear? Right about in here somewhere. And notice I'm not really aiming for super tight precision on this. I just want to block in kind of the shapes and where things are going to go. So about there. And then now I'm going to do a little bit of a switch. I'm going to darken this up, my pencil, so that we have a little bit, so we can differentiate what I sketched in and now what we're going to kind of draw in. I'm going to move in a little bit because it's kind of hard to see at times. So I'm going to move in a little bit. We'll just kind of fill these in just a little bit more. And now I'm really observing a little bit tighter of what I actually see, and I'm using kind of more masses. The shadow areas, I'm going to use this more as if you look over here, this is almost a whole mass. It's almost the same value, not quite, but you almost view it as a whole mass. So I'm going to kind of sketch it in that shape, like such. And then we'll, where that nose comes down, look at that nose. If you look, that highlight of that nose over here, it's almost straight up and down. Man, it is really close to straight up and down. And so there's a little bit over here of that, kind of where you can, the fat of this skin goes around the eyeball a little bit. And we'll do the other eye real quick. Now, I'm not measuring, I'm going to be honest, I'm not measuring anything, so we're just kind of eyeballing this. Like I said, we're kind of being a little more laid back, trying to have a little bit more fun and not get caught up on the super tight technicalities of an accurate drawing. Okay, and so we put that in here a little bit. And once again, there's that little bit of a flesh underneath here. Okay, and once again, we'll see. I'm going to be honest with you, I've got his eyes probably a little too far apart. Yep, going to be a little bit far apart. Oh well, life is still fun. So if we look down, where does that outside of this nose come? We'll just kind of work with it a little bit. Come straight down from the inside of there. That's this angle here, kind of about like this. And it comes just a little bit right here is that imaginary middle of his face right here. And we're working right here on his mouth, right in here. Notice if you're not sure what this shape is, just kind of draw an imaginary line over here and then duplicate it over here. Where does this mouth line up as opposed to the nose and the eyes? Comes straight down from the eye and kind of angles about like that off that nostril. So we're somewhere in the ballpark over here. And the ballpark is good with sketching. And we'll create that shape again over here. Notice he's got really thin lips right through here and right through here. So there isn't a whole lot of shape on the top. And then he's got a pretty full bottom lip. Give him a bit of a full bottom lip here. And really what defines this whole shape here is the shadow right through here. So we'll make sure that that shadow is in play. And a little bit here, this kind of his cheek muscles are showing up a little bit here. And the cheek muscles almost always come right off that nostril. They don't come off here and they don't come off up here. They come off this nostril. It kind of just creates this shape off that edge of the nostril. So always place those nostrils where they need to be. And you start putting those in the wrong place, and even though you don't know why, your brain will tell you something is not right there. So we'll put the bottom of that chin in here. And the edge. Now once again, let's take a look at that imaginary line that we see here. We'll put it over here. Okay. Looks like I might have his face just a little bit thin, but like I said, we're not getting paid for this. We're doing it for the fun of it. Okay. Going to round that out here. And notice how this just keeps kind of going around on him. They're not always like this, but notice how it just kind of continues around. So we're just observing these different shapes. And one of the things that I'm doing a little bit more on his eyebrow, if you notice, he's got some, look in here, he's got some pretty hefty eyebrows, and they create quite a shadow. One thing I'm going to show you is I'm incorrect here. See his eyeball? Now look at the arc. Where does this arc in his eyebrow go? Right there over it. The peak of his eyebrow is right over this eye. And where do I got it? I got it clear over here. So move that over just a little bit. And believe it or not, those things, when it comes to likenesses, those things, those little things matter. Just a second, I got to do a quick erase here. So I got that erase done. Back to my drawing tool. Also, one of the things to keep in mind here when I'm looking at it, see, this is a bigger shape in here. It doesn't end right at the edge of his eye. It comes out a little bit. Okay, and we're going to finish up here with his his hair. As it comes around a little bit. Now let's look where that hair starts coming out of the side of his head. Notice it kind of lines up right through here off his eyebrow. Okay, and you don't want to get too thick. You don't want to get out here, and you don't want it too thin. So the aim is to get it the Goldilocks effect just right. So let's sketch this up. Move this down a little bit. If we notice, where does this part of his hair hit on here? You know, I'm just eyeballing it a little bit. Certainly, you can measure from here to here and then find out what that measurement. And I can just do it just so we know. So I'm measuring from here down to here. And it happens to be the same distance as here to here. So I'm going to measure on my drawing over here from here to here, and that'll tell me this distance for his hair. So right about there is probably a little closer dimension. Okay, so I'm just going to fill it in a little bit. And let's see how far out do we want to go. Now I seem to be going a little bit more from my sketching to an actual measurement, because I'm kind of refining things a little bit. So I'd make this quick measurement to make sure I got this angle right, and this distance here is the same as from here to here, I think. And so now I'm just sketching again. I'm just going to connect this shape to this shape. Now it's really all I'm doing. And I'm observing how it rounds about. I'm just analyzing this roundness to it. So that's really all I'm doing. And once again, I'm going to look and see if I draw this line straight across. Right about here is where that bottom of the ear is. And if I go across, it's definitely above that. Quite a bit, so that ear is probably up here somewhere. And once again, I'll just analyze this shape a bit and draw it. Kind of just, you're really just doing a glorified connecting the dots. Okay. And people ask me when they see me at a shows, when I'm just sketching and I have my drawing in there, they go, "Oh, so you draw it first? You don't do it like Bob Ross and he does it." I said, "No, this is really a glorified paint by numbers. There's just no numbers there." So now I can't see the top of his hair, so I am going to measure this real quick, because to me it looks like it's a long way up there. So I'm measuring from his eye. I'm measuring from his eye to